Look, as someone who is genuinely trying to follow God, you are going to have a lot of trouble with surrender. If you have come from a past where you have been forced to do on your own, you have been forced to be alone, you have been forced to curate what your future may look like, and it's going to be very difficult to surrender that to God. Because what once gave you power is now your weakness. And I get it. Anybody watching this, if you ever, and be honest with yourself, felt like you were shrouded in arrogance, pride, or ego, which interchangeable, honestly, I get it. I've been there. And the reason I feel so deeply for these people are because I understood what it took to come to that realization that you have to be that way. I understood what it took and the pain it took for me to feel as though that was the only way for me to be. To feel like I couldn't lean or rely or look around for help. And I do want to warn you, it is teaching you to be shallow. It is teaching you that you aren't worth anything unless you work very hard and you have a lot of money in your pocket and decent sized muscles and you're never available and you're cold and emotionless and you're stoic, which is a difference. There's a difference, by the way. There is a lot of weakness in that, because the truth about arrogance that no one really talks about is arrogance masks insecurity. I'm gonna say it again because that sounds like I'm spitting. Arrogance masks insecurity, and that's very hard to see at first, but the reason you feel like if you have, then you'll be good enough is because you at one point felt like when you didn't have, you were made to feel worthless. That hurts to talk about because sometimes we're placed in a position where we feel like, well, I don't have this and they made me feel useless. I must be right. I must be worthless. They made me feel that way. I must be an outcast. Or our favorite our favorite term for being isolated is lone wolf. I'm just gonna go ahead and be completely honest. I felt like that for a very long time, that I had to be this lone wolf and I had to do on my own and I had to figure out how to climb on my own. And that's not completely wrong. But your whole life isn't gonna be spent climbing as a lone wolf. It's gonna take a lot of effort to do it. And let's be real, two are better than one. That's very hard to admit. It's very hard to drop the ego even temporarily and say, you know what, I need to talk to somebody. I do. Because if I don't, if I pretend like nobody understands me and no one has this problem, I'm going to perpetuate that feeling of loneliness. I am. And I feel for those people too, because I've been there. Loneliness comes from thinking you're the only one in that situation. It can get ugly fast because it's a spiral effect. It makes you feel like, well, dang, I must be the only one. I look around and I don't see it. It doesn't seem like no one relates. No one feels this. And then you decide not to talk to anybody. And then it perpetuates and spirals and gets worse. I titled the video, "You Are Not God," because you believe if you carry all these different kind of chips on your shoulder, that you then hold the power in your life. Or let's come from a social media perspective, right? You are the manifesto, or you create your reality, or am I missing one? We each and every one of us are gods of our own reality. Stupid stuff like that. I'm just gonna be real. Look, the idea behind it is cool. But if any shape or fashion that you develop pride because you believe you control this reality, it's gonna get ugly. Look, I've tried it. It doesn't work. It creates the same issue that you had before, and that's an issue of being shallow. No one's born shallow. We're all born as kids. We're all born as happy-go-lucky people, yada yada yada. And then life tells us we need to be shallow, emotionless, make good money. This is for the men, right? Emotionless, make good money. Maybe build a certain amount of muscle. Let's see. I must be missing one. None of these things are true. The truth is, it's okay to have feelings. The truth is, it's okay to be vulnerable. And I'm not saying be stupid. Obviously, some people are vampires. Obviously, some people do not. It's corny to say. Some people actually don't want to see you win. And in my opinion, I feel like people are made to feel like they shouldn't care to see anybody else win because they have been made to feel as though comfort is the only thing that this life has to offer. And that's not to shame those people. I get it. A lot of the things we do, say, and the behaviors we portray are things we learned. We have learned those things. And over time, what happens is you gain this understanding that it's the right thing to do, or the right way to think, or the right way to behave. That's just not true. Sometimes you're wrong. And if we were able to teach people at a very young age humility, we wouldn't have the pride issue we do in the world. I'm lying. It would still exist. The reason it will still exist, oftentimes, it's passed down hurt. Right? We are born teachable. We are born able to be malleable. And what happens is we learn that our emotions don't have a place in the world. Or better yet, we don't learn how to control them. And we end up doing things that we regret. Or we end up becoming a person that we don't exactly feel proud of. Notice I used the word proud. We might spin back on that. We're not. I'm going to end this video now, but if you watched all the way to the end, I very much appreciate you. And for those that feel like they're stuck in pride, for those that feel like their ego is very important, for those that feel like you need to be arrogant to survive in this world, you don't. And a lot of times, humility is the antidote. Humility is the antidote to pride. Ultimately, it is. And humility doesn't look like I'm worthless. Just it's the same paradigm, right? Of pride is actually thinking you're worthless or better than others. Humility is right in between, understanding your strengths and your weaknesses. And biblical humility is understanding how God sees you. Yes, I stole that. I'll see y'all in the next one.